Hello and welcome. My name is Marc Blatstein, the physician founder of Physician Pre-Sentence Report Service. Welcome to my new website. After 8 or 9 years, I've updated it. It's just about 3 days old. You find in the upper left-hand corner, it says Physician Pre-Sentence Report Service. My email address, phone number, 240-888-7778. And today we're going to discuss what does your judge want to know? Ultimately, because judges are very busy and they have lots of cases, and everyone that comes in front of a judge is innocent. And so let's get started. This article here, there's Alan Ellis has done both of these articles. Own the mistake and demonstrate your sincere remorse. What federal judges here want to know at sentencing is at the bottom. And he's past president of the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. He's been practicing for over 50 years. He's a fixture in the legal community. So what does your judge want to know? It doesn't matter if you're right now for the purposes of this YouTube video, whether you are just indicted, you hear the FBI is asking questions, you're facing your sentencing hearing, your pre-sentence interview, or you're getting ready to go to prison itself. My name is Marc Blatstein, and I've been where you are today. I too had a felony, but I was able to get my medical license to practice reinstated and my career back. So I've been where you are. Well, I can't make any promises or guarantees. Preparing for your pre-sentence interview, which includes getting all the information together that the probation officer wants, and writing your story, which is, and I'll open this up right here for a bit, your narrative, which is your getting ready for your pre-sentence interview. This is another page that goes through your pre-sentence report and puts all together your narrative, which is your story, which is your autobiography. And right now, you may not want to write your personal narrative, or story, but the Department of Justice has already written yours for you, and it's in the form of your indictment. And chances are, if my indictment was not that flattering. And so if you choose not to write your own personal narrative, then you're going to be sentenced when you get into the courtroom. The judge is only going to be able to read that indictment and sentence you on that indictment. So unless you believe that's 100% accurate as to who you are, I implore you to consider writing your story, your history of who you are. A release plan seems a bit premature, and I would agree, but a lot of this I've learned subsequent to being released from prison almost 20 years ago. Allocution is your conversation at your sentencing hearing with your judge, and this can change your life dramatically for the better or for the worse. And your allocution is your conversation, which is a conversational form or a verbalized form of your narrative, but it's a conversational form of your narrative with the judge. And if you've taken the time to provide a well-written narrative with all the information that the probation officer needed before your pre-sentence interview, then this is a critical step for a successful journey. At least from my experience, it's both needed and helpful. So preparing for release before the first day, before your pre-sentence interview, at least considering it, is a step in the right direction. So even you may wind up doing something completely different when you come out of prison, because eventually you're going to come out. By having some sort of plan and a daily routine, and by that I mean we all have had a daily routine, whether we're cognizant of it or not. If you're working, you get up, go to work every day. If you're school, you get up and go to school every day. By having that routine before day one when you go into prison, plus understanding what to expect on day one when you go into prison, that's a very good start. Remembering or keep in mind that prison is temporary. Acquiring knowledge and preparing for the legal process will help you regain the confidence you need to navigate through this challenging period. I have a whole separate page, on my website regarding the legal process, but again, you think that this comes automatically, but it doesn't. For example, you want to make sure that your attorney has experience in federal criminal defense in federal court, then handling cases like yours. I had a client that after he was sentenced realized when we started Googling his attorney that he was a personal injury lawyer. Not much experience there in federal criminal defense, definitely not in federal court. Judges understand that crimes don't happen in a vacuum. What they do know is that they know that the attorney is paid to keep you out of prison. They know the Department of Justice wants a conviction. They know the prosecutor is meant to protect society from you because you're responsible for all the world's sins. And maybe they will also, if they get it, if they have a really high conviction rate, maybe they go into politics or become a white collar attorney. And so the only person that the judge knows nothing about is you, the defendant, and what happened and why you did what you did. So I suppose the question is, are you willing to have that heart-to-heart talk first with yourself and then with the judge? And I'll interject here, is that who's the most important person that you're going to meet through this entire series of events? And the answer is it's going to be your probation officer who writes the pre-sentence report. So that preparing for that pre-sentence interview is a very big deal. So three federal judges here. Federal Judge Patrick Schiltz says it's surprisingly how many otherwise competent attorneys punt at the sentencing hearing, meaning that you're not prepared. And part of the preparation is preparing for the allocution. And part of the allocution is your conversation with the judge. And what's the conversation with the judge dependent upon? When I was in court, the judge asked me if I had anything to say. Nobody told me that the judge was going to ask me anything. And then the judge said, well, we don't want to see you back in the courtroom. Okay. I didn't think I was coming back to the courtroom. And my attorney and I had discussed it. Well, we'll appeal the indictment. Okay. Well, I was going to appeal the indictment. But my understanding was you just appeal the indictment and they either say okay or no. Well, we appealed the indictment. And then, so I went into prison. I left. I was released. I went back into court, appealed the indictment. It was denied. I had to go back to prison. And so you also want to, when you're talking to an attorney, if you want to appeal anything or go to trial, you want to ask them how many appeals or trials have they won. Next, Judge Robert Scalia, don't wait to think about sentencing advocacy. Since 99% of federal criminal clients will face sentencing, start preparing the case early on, meaning that a good attorney, I don't want to say a good attorney, but an attorney should recognize with you that as soon as you learn that the FBI is asking questions, you want to begin starting, preparing for your defense. And a big part of your defense, lawyers know the lawyery stuff, but the nuances of the personal narrative, a release plan, what goes on in prison, a lot of the skills that, what moved me to move from seeing patients and transition my career over to working with individuals like yourself is because those nuances are not part of what attorneys know firsthand, but they know the law. Federal Judge Mark Bennett, this is what they know. And so here is a YouTube on that particular piece of information. So you'll be able to click on that and see what he has to say. And there's another link to the YouTube. So now is your time to convince the court that you have started on the right path. And it begins with your personal narrative and a release plan. Now, the release plan, your narrative, you already written, it has to be, well written, and somebody has to be able to, review it with you because it's your autobiography, a release plan. Maybe you know someone who is willing to hire you. You'll have character letters that you'll have to have. Prepare with all the information requested by the probation officer and provide everything for your interview. Be prepared for your interview with your officer because the officer needs time to fill out their pre-sentence report worksheet. And if they have the time to fill out their worksheet, then at the time of the interview, they will have enough time to personally get to know who you are and maybe ask any remaining questions that they may have. And that personal time they have with you is good because they may come away from the meeting with you with a feeling that you're maybe not as bad as the indictment led them to believe initially. You respected their time, you provided all the information to them, and they may come away and make a more positive recommendation to the judge because judges depend on and listen to the probation officers who write the probation report. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call. There's my phone number again, 240-888-7778. It's my personal cell. If I don't pick up, leave me a brief message as I return all of my own calls. Hope you have a good day and stay safe.